All right. Hello, class. Welcome back. Today, we are going to be talking about our digestive system. So this will be a 2-day lesson. So in our Google slideshow, when you're on November 9th, so here's our lesson for today. We're going to talk about the digestive system. We're just going to go over 17 slides today, and we'll do the rest tomorrow. Open up your assignment, and I will open up the lesson. So first thing on your assignment, go ahead and write digestive system and go ahead and answer the do now. What do you know about the system? So what do you know about your digestive system? We'll give you guys some time to answer that. If you don't know anything, just tell me, Coach Go, I don't know anything. I hope to learn today. Remember, everything we talk about will be on your test Friday. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and move on. Okay, so when you think about your digestive system, some of you guys might say, well, I know it's what we use to eat, right? So obviously, why do we eat? Oh, food tastes good, I'm hungry, my stomach's growling. Well, obviously, yes, but why do we eat? We eat to get nutrients, right? You eat to get energy. So today I'm gonna be talking about how digestion works, the process. It doesn't matter what you eat, it goes the same way. However, when you guys eat healthier foods, you get more out of it, right? So if I eat that donut versus I ate maybe that apple in the morning, well, it's going to go through the same place, but the apple is going to get more nutrients from it that could send it through my blood to different areas of my body, right? We've been talking about different parts of your body, like what type of nutrients they need to get strong, or your digestive system is what helps sends them there. And then obviously to get energy. Those of you guys who aren't especially eating breakfast in the morning, where you're the ones that are just like dying first and second hour. You guys are the ones like, what time is it? Is it lunch yet, right? You can't get through because you have no energy. You got to put gas in your tank. If I don't have gas in my truck, I'm not going anywhere. I can't expect it to take a long haul, right? Same thing with you guys. You can't expect your bodies to get through the day if you're not putting energy in it. Obviously, the healthier the energy, the healthier the food, the healthier the energy, all right? All right, so we're going to talk about the digestion process today. There's 8 steps. Go ahead and start off with, obviously, saliva. So think, when you put food in your mouth, I don't care if it's an apple, a banana, a fish, chicken, whatever you put, right? So obviously your saliva starts breaking down the chemicals. If you guys see in this picture, you have your salivary glands. Some of us produce a lot more saliva than others, but it's really good to have saliva in our mouth, right? Your saliva also like moves around different chemicals and bacteria in our mouth. So your saliva, right, in your tongue, so it'll start breaking down whatever chemicals are in that food. Then obviously, your tongue is what pushes the food around for your different teeth. Remember we talked about your teeth? Okay, babies have 20, adults have 28 to 32, and we talked about the different styles of your teeth. Obviously, if I'm eating like a hamburger, I'm not going to chew at my front teeth. My tongue will push it back, and my molars will start to grind it up. If I bite into an apple or a carrot, right, or celery, yes, I'll use my incisors to bite it, and then I push it to my molars. So your saliva, tongue, and teeth are the first 3 steps, right? Pretty simple. All right, so your 4th step is your esophagus. What is your esophagus? This is your food tube. So if you see right here in this guide, that's the tube that connects your mouth, right? And it goes down and eventually it connects to your stomach. This tube is about 10 inches long, so think like a ruler, 12 inches, right? So if you have a ruler, that's as far as it goes. When that food is in the esophagus, it's just in there for a couple seconds. That is a smooth muscle we talked about, and it squeezes the food down to your stomach. So whatever you eat, once you chew it up and it goes down, you swallow it, it squeezes it down to your stomach, okay? Now, this little guy is called your epiglottis. If you guys see this picture right here, it's like this little flap, okay? If you didn't have an epiglottis, we would constantly choke on our food, right? So if you guys see in this picture right here, there's one tube, your esophagus. Next week, we'll talk about this tube that looks like a V, okay? That's your trachea. That's what goes to your lungs, right? Now, this is why when we eat, your food knows which tube to go in, because your epiglottis. Your epiglottis is what blocks off your trachea when you're eating. If not, have you guys ever like accidentally choked? Like, you went down the wrong tube. Well, literally it did, right? And that's when that can be very scary. If it goes down the wrong tube, it goes in the trachea. Well, that's what oxygen takes to your lungs, right? So if something's blocking it, you're not getting oxygen to your lungs. People, they could choke and they could go unconscious. So that's when someone might perform the Heimlich maneuver, right? So I got to get that piece of food up and out of their throat. Well, that epiglottis is there for this reason. So when you're eating your food and chewing it, that epiglottis closes off the trachea. Now, it doesn't close it all the way because obviously you still need to breathe, but it closes it just enough for your food to go down your esophagus to your stomach. This is why it's so important not to talk when you're eating, not to run around when you're eating, because that epiglottis says, well, you're running, you need a lot of oxygen, you're talking. So it might get freaked out and doesn't know what to do. And that's when that piece could go down the wrong tube. So it's really important to chew your food up and then make sure you guys aren't running. Make sure you're not talking excessively because you need that food to go down the right tube. All right, moving on. So that's the fourth step. Once it goes to your esophagus, the next part it goes to is obviously your stomach. Your stomach right here, your stomach's really not that big. A lot of people think your stomach is like this whole section. No, you have so much crammed in there. It's pretty amazing. So your stomach is just like a little J-shaped sack is what it is. What happens in your stomach? Well, this is where it stores the food. This is where it breaks it down. I call it like a soupy mixture. So we have a whole bunch of chemicals in your stomach that literally breaks down whatever you ate. If maybe last night you had steak, say potatoes and corn, I'm not going to look in your stomach and see the steak, potatoes, and corn right now. FYI, I'll see the corn because it doesn't digest, but I can't say, oh, this is what you ate. You're going to look at everyone's stomach and think we all just ate soup with maybe some corn kernels in it, right? So that's just what breaks it down. Your stomach's also smooth muscle, so your stomach's constantly breaking it down. Think whenever your stomach growls, you think, oh, it's time to eat. Your stomach has a lot of stomach acids in there, and it's constantly churning. If there's nothing in there for it to churn, then you're right. It's these acids mixing around. It's going, it makes this growling sound. Yes, a lot of people say, well, it's because I'm hungry. Well, because there's nothing in your stomach. We need to make sure we're getting some food in there before it starts making all those noises, right? Now, once that stomach muscle, okay, is ready to pass on that food, it then empties it into the small intestine, okay? So that's your sixth step, is your small intestine. Cool things about your small intestine, if you take your small intestine, you stretch it out, it is 22 feet long. Your small intestine, 22 feet long. This picture shows you it's literally over the height of like an average giraffe. It is long. You say, how in the heck is that squished up in your body? It's amazing. So your small intestine is just like all squished up in here, right? Think of it as one long tube that's curved around and thrown inside your guys' core. But what's also cool about your small intestine, this is what absorbs the nutrients and vitamins from your food, the good stuff. So once you squeeze it down your esophagus, right, you squeeze it, it goes to your stomach turns into like a soupy acid liquid. Then it sends it into your small intestine. In your small intestine walls, you have a whole bunch of blood cells, right, which you have blood cells everywhere. But these blood cells will see the food that you have. So if you ate a donut, it's going to say, keep going, we don't want you. But maybe you ate an apple or carrot or fish or some type of chicken, meat, and it sees the nutrients. When it comes by, it says, oh, yes, I want that vitamin D. I need that magnesium. I need that iron. And then it takes it into the blood cells and it sends it where it needs to go. So maybe potassium and calcium, it says send this to Coach Gull's bones, to her skull bones. Send this one down to her femur bone. Send this one to her rib cage. If it's magnesium, they'll say, hey, send this to Coach Gull's heart. If it's iron, hey, let's take this and send it to Coach Gull's bloodstream, right? So it takes the good stuff out and it passes up the rest. It says, okay, we're done with it. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Well, after the small intestine, it then hooks to your large intestine. Okay, so if you look right here, this is your small intestine. Your large intestine, then it starts right here, it hooks. Your large intestine now, it's only 5 feet long. I say only, but still, that's pretty big for being inside our torso. It's called large because it's thicker. So once your small intestine gets all the good stuff out, the only thing left is waste. So it says, we don't want this, get it out of here. So your large intestine says, I'll take it. So then it just starts squeezing it through and it goes through, it squeezes. It squeezes over here, that squeezes down here, and then it's about to go out. Now, as it's squeezing all that waste, it says, we don't want this, we don't want this. The last thing it's doing is absorbing any water, right? It's taking any water out. And obviously water is good for our body. We need water. So it's going to take whatever water out and send it where it needs. And then whatever is left, it goes through our colon and we go to the bathroom, right? This is when we go number 2. So once it hits your colon and then, right, we end up pooping it out, okay? All right. So those are the 8 steps. So your saliva, your tongue, your teeth, pretty easy. Then your esophagus squeezes it down to your stomach, your 5th step. Then your stomach sends the soupy mixture to your small intestine, the 6th step. It gets the good stuff out. Then it goes to the seventh step, which is your large intestine says, okay, I'll just take out what's left, which is good water. And then it sends the rest to your colon and you go to number two, you go to the bathroom. All right. Now we're going to talk about different organs in your digestive system that food does not go through, but is helpful. Okay, so those that I just talked about, food literally goes through. Okay, these food does not go through, but it helps. So the first one we're going to talk about is your pancreas. If you look right here, your pancreas is tucked just like right on top of your stomach area. So your stomach's on the left side of your body. Your pancreas is like right underneath that rib cage, right? What does your pancreas do? It helps digest fat and protein. So it literally sends chemicals, like say when you eat food, like high fatty, high protein food, it sends it through these ducts, right? So you got pancreatic ducts. It sends it to the ducts and it sends it to your stomach to help break down those type of foods. It also produces insulin to regulate blood sugar, which we'll talk about here in a second. So you see your pancreas right here, right? It sends whatever it needs to the stomach to help break down that type of food. All right, so your pancreas, we'll talk more about diabetes here in a second. Okay, so next is your liver. So your liver is up here on the upper right section. So if you think right on the upper right of your rib cage is your liver. Your liver is actually a pretty big guy. It's 3 pounds, pretty big, right? So it's this guy right now. Here it's broken into 2 lobes. So you have your right lobe and your left lobe, okay? So what does your liver do? It does quite a bit, but the main thing it helps, it makes bile, some type of acid, to help absorb fat into our bloodstream. So like I told you, we do need some fat. Remember we talked about in our nutrition unit, we need that unsaturated fat, a little bit of saturated. We do not want trans fat. So it does take out some of that fat and take it to your bloodstream. It also helps filter your blood. It helps make proteins that are good for blood clotting. We talk about platelets help clot blood, so it helps make proteins to help with that. The crazy thing with your liver is you could donate most of your liver, not all of it, right? Not all at once, but you could donate most of your liver and it will grow back within months. So if someone's having liver issues, cirrhosis is one of them, liver disease, and maybe my liver's a match, I could donate most of my liver to them and my liver will grow back within months. That is crazy to know. All right. Now, if you guys see this little guy underneath the liver, we're going to talk about him next. That's the gallbladder. So that little guy under that little green guy, the gallbladder, he stores bile. So sometimes when the liver makes way too much, it says, I don't know where to put it. The gallbladder says, I'll take it. Okay. So it stores the bile needed to help the liver. Do you need your gallbladder? No, you don't need it. If you don't have it, not a big deal. A lot of people who have gallbladder issues, yes, my next slide. So a lot of people have gallbladder issues. Might have gallstones. Eventually, the doctor might say, let's just get rid of it. Okay. Does it hurt you not to have it? No, you just don't have an extra storage. Not a big deal, right? So if you guys see these ducts right here, these ducts all connect. So this right here is your small intestine, right? So it helps break down the fatty tissue in there. So it goes through to your small intestine. Well, say you have gallstones. What are gallstones? They're like grains of sand, or they could be the size of a golf ball. And that's when they might have to go in and like laser break them down. It's like if you have too much cholesterol, so a lot of people who have like high fatty diets, right, are more likely to have gallstones. Or sometimes like if your gallbladder, maybe you have a blockage here and it doesn't empty like it's supposed to, you can have gallstones, right? So a lot of times, like I said, people who are overweight get it. It's very important. Gallbladder is right here in the upper right quadrant of your body. So if you're getting like a pain on the upper right quadrant, you could have gallstones. So over here shows you just the gallstones. What do? They might go in, laser them out, and then hopefully you can get rid of them. A lot of times people have to surgically get the gallstones removed. If you're known to have gallstones a lot, they might just say, hey, we're going to have gallbladder surgery. And they'll just snip this, and just take out the gallbladder. All right. You don't need your gallbladder. You won't die if it gets taken out. Okay. Moving on. So here's the appendix. Okay. What does your appendix do? Nothing. Your appendix does absolutely nothing for you. It's the end of your large intestine. Okay. So it's this little guy that hangs out. So here's your small intestine. It got the good food out, got the good nutrients out of your food. Then it sends it to your large intestine for it to start squeezing out the waste, right? So this little guy just hanging there, does nothing. But I'm going to tell you right now, it can kill you. You say, what? So it does absolutely nothing, but it can kill us, okay? People who have appendicitis, okay, it's when their appendix might become blocked. It could be blocked because maybe you're not eating enough fiber and you might be constipated. You're not going to the bathroom enough and waste is just building up in here and it's blocking it. And this little guy could be blocked so bad it could rupture. Unfortunately, maybe you could have a tumor growing in there that could be blocking it, right? So there could be different reasons why it's being blocked. Usually it happens, so it's going to be the lower right abdomen. So if you're hurting down here, the lower right abdomen, you're looking at your appendix possibly, right? Really important to make sure you get seen by a doctor, because what happens is if this appendix ruptures, think what's inside the large intestine? Waste, poop, right? Which is full of bacteria, E. coli, all that stuff, right? If this ruptures, this little guy ruptures, all of that waste is now thrown inside your body. Your liver's being surrounded by it, your small intestine, your large intestine, your kidneys, your like everything's being surrounded by it. And what flows through our body constantly is blood. And once that bacteria could get in your bloodstream, it could be deadly. So if someone ever has appendicitis, doctors are probably going to treat them and probably emergency surgery, get that appendix. They'll go in and get it out. How do they do that? So it's just a quick little procedure. So if this shows a normal one, this one's inflamed, this one could rupture. And like I said, all that bacteria and poop could then just fall out and someone could go septic and they could die from that. So what they'll do is they'll go in with little instruments down your throat, right? Down the esophagus to your stomach. They'll cut through all the way to your small intestines to your large intestine, and then they'll find the appendix. So here's the damaged appendix. They'll go through, they'll snip it, and then like this little bag. The bag will then catch it, and then they'll go right back through, and they'll pull it right on out of your mouth. Okay, so that's like a basic appendicitis operation. If it's an emergency appendix operation, they might just go and just cut into your lower abdomen and then take it out just like that. They might not have time to do all this. So if you've ever had emergency appendix taken out, then you probably have a little scar on your lower right belly. Okay, so in your notes right now, I want you to explain 3 of the digestive organs and their functions. Maybe those 3 are your pancreas, which we'll talk about diabetes tomorrow. Maybe it's your liver. We talked about your esophagus, your stomach, your small intestines, your large intestines. Talked about your gallbladder. Talked to you about your appendix, which is nothing for us, right? So explain 3 of your digestive organs and their functions. While you're doing that, there we go. Okay, so if you guys have any questions on the digestive system, just holler at me. Tomorrow we'll focus more on digestive system issues, diseases, disorders, that kind of stuff, and how we could take care of our digestive system. Make sure you guys are feeding your bodies. Make sure you're obviously feeding them healthier foods. You need energy, and either way, you need energy, but obviously you want healthier energy. You're going to start noticing the healthier you guys eat, you're taking care of your bodies. You're going to feel a lot better, and when you're 30, 40, 50, you're going to be less likely to have a lot of issues going on. All right? So with that being said,